Welcome back. Eternal Dragon here with my latest build. We're calling her Poisonara, folks. And we're going to do this video a little bit differently. We are not going to be rocking with the music montage like we normally do. I'm just going to take you through this thing because honestly, it works with every single gun that I've tried as long as it's elemental. And even a non-elemental gun here, like this primordial 8-piece of jealousy, build works crazy well with this too. So we are looking at a Blight Stabo. Gonna grab a drink here. Focusing on using From the Shadows. Although the Bog Totem and the Plague Storm are also great choices, they work fantastically on the build as well, but you get some really dramatic results here. You know, we are using a Wizard's Pipe. You just saw the demo done with a blue cake. I'll show you using the Phoenix. We also have a Sword Explosion. We're using a Snake Stick, and this is because once the armor gets nerfed, we actually have an alternative armor for the build. We have the Ascended Shark's Bane here. Double gun damage roll. This ring is phenomenal for gun damage. It's just crazy good right here. And then we are using a Crying Apple because we can. Now, this shield, when it breaks, does 3, count them, 3 stacking Novas that do successively more poison damage each. So this one's super fun to have breaking, and we've also got brimming on it, which will fill your life back up when your shield is full. We are using a Mosquito's Mantle. It's just OP. If you know anything about the state of the game right now, this armor is just nuts. We've got it with area damage, which kind of boosts up everything that we're doing with all of our guns, and also gun damage and max health. Now, the way this armor works is that you have a 30% chance to apply a critical hit with a crossbolt on your target, and then, you know, you're getting cooldown rate as well on kill. But these crossbolts, they go through your entire damage formula again. So they are crazily overpowered. They are applied at a high damage already by whatever weapon that you are doing, and then they get the entire damage formula again, so they go nuts. They break everything in the game right now. This is pretty much your absolute best choice for an armor. Over here we're using a Wicked Gossip. This thing will shatter apart and just destroy mob groups, and I've seen it hitting for up to 2 million damage against bosses as well. I just absolutely love this spell. We've got a 3 charge one, so we can use it 3 times, and we are also going to be comboing that with this enchantment. After action skill start, gain spell cooldown rate 50% and 1 additional spell projectile, so we get a ×3, and this triggers pretty much right away. It's super duper great whenever you use your action skill. You just now suddenly have 3 projectiles on your spell instead of 2, and I do know that you can get a ×3 Wicked Gossip, but I did not get one, so you can possibly do this up to ×4 projectiles on there. Pretty cool stuff. Protagonizer, we are boosting our ability crit and our ability crit damage. Sorry, the chance and the damage. And that matters because we are doing just absolutely over-the-top damage here with Geist in the shell as well. This thing is hitting for well over 10 million damage very regularly with this setup. So, like I said, pretty much any gun works, and that's why no musical montage today, because with this setup, you can pretty much use anything you want to use. I will show you a few more of the different variant ways to fight Parasite here. And it does work on any boss, by the way. I just chose Parasite because he's an easy one to target, and we all have to beat up the mushroom. So we're just going to hop back in really quick. And hopefully we get a super good kill, which we can get with our Phoenix here. To show off this gun again. Echoing Phoenix. Go in. I'm going to fire that over there. Don't want to soak him right now. I didn't hit the crit hard enough. There we go. Boom. Done. Alright, so that's with the Phoenix. And it can be done faster as well. I didn't get the big crit right away, but you saw what happens when you get the big crit. We're going to hop back in. I will now do the same fight using the Wizard's Pipe so that you can see what that looks like, which is also pretty cool. I have a few different Wizard's Pipes on the build, just to trigger off the different skills that are available depending on what you want to be doing. Fire is, of course, increasing your gun damage on this build pretty much at any point. I am going to also grab Poison Wizard's Pipe, just so you can see the two of them. The two that I like the best, that is. Do a little Wicked Gossip attack. So see, we got the Poison one just doing work. Absolutely doing work with the Wizard's Pipe. And you know, I think that kind of shows it off. I was going to show it to you with the increased poison damage as well, but I mean, you saw what happened. You saw what just happened to that boss. So other things on the build, you can get some decent kills with this. I've not gotten anything super fantastic, but you know, you can get something. Divergent, very good on the build. The Merlin's Razors, super duper fun on the build. The Wizard's Pipes. And, you know, I am going to just do this one more time with the 8-piece of Jealousy, just so you can see how powerful this interaction on this build really is. And then I will take you through the skills and the myth rank right after that. Cheers to you, friends. And I'd love to know if you guys like this style of video. You know, this is pretty informal. We're just chilling. I'm just explaining how this works to you. And if this is a way that you guys would like to see videos done in the future, we can totally do that. So, Primordial 8-piece. I mean, we all know the Sword Explosion is going to work. You saw some of the other weapons already. So we'll go for this one. It doesn't even have a DOT. So this is all going to be reliant on our skills now. Boom. And done. So there you go. So let's take a look at our skills. Like I said, we are focusing on From the Shadows, and we are a Blightcaller main. 5 out of 5 over here for Geist in the Shell. We are increasing our Bog Spirit ability damage as far as we can with this build, while still triggering it with gun damage. Because you see it's 35% of your gun critical hit damage, so you want high gun damage and high ability damage to make this come off. Increasing the damage further with poison damage, and when our shield is full, of course, an additional 42% damage dealt. This is coming off of the class mod. And then Bog Down for if you want to trigger it. If you're using one of your fire weapons, you don't want to trigger Bog Down, but if you're going to be using the bazooka or blue cake, or if you're wanting to use any frost weapons, trigger Bog Down. When you're using dark magic, you see you can increase your spell and ability damage even further, so we've got that dark magic times 3 Sword Explosion on the build just to trigger this if you want to go crazy in that direction. Fire is, of course, triggering this. Now, a really cool thing about the Wizard's Pipe, of course, is that the special procs that come off of it, that's the additional little balls that fire. The balls that fire. Anyway, shouldn't have said that. Moving on. They swap to the element that your enemy is currently weak to. And so because that is the truth, because they're swapping to what your enemy is currently weak to, you can hit fire with this gun a lot. Doesn't matter which of them that you're using. And so the same can be said for dark magic damage too. You will 100% notice that you are setting off these different skills just by using the Wizard's Pipe as it swaps around between elements. Now, of course, we're using Toxicity. Whenever we apply a poison status effect, we increase our critical damage, companion damage, and action skill cooldown rate. All of that just adding more damage back into our Spirit Swarm, which is appearing almost right away when we're fighting things. It's almost always there, dealing crazy damage for us. And it is, of course, getting pumped up by our poison damage and everything else. And then triggering all of these Geist in the Shells. And we're getting so many because we are a Stabomancer. We have Dirty Fighting. And so you see here, we already have a 61.4% chance to critical hit at any given point. I did not even put any points into here. We actually maxed out here, but we'll talk about that in 1 second. Sorry, back to the skills. Over on the Stabomancer side, we of course 3 out of 3 haste to move as fast as possible. We are 5 out of 5 potent poison so that our status effect stuff lasts longer. So that our debuff lasts longer with Exploit the Weakness, we can apply this multiple times with all the different types of DOTs that you would like to apply, and that also makes it worthwhile to use something like the Wizard's Pipe and be swapping between elements. 5 out of 5 Swift Death, that's so that we have additional damage while moving, and this is also getting bonuses from our additional movement speed here, and any other additional movement speed stuff you want to put on the build. It will actually boost this up whether or not you are moving. Of course, if you're moving, you will do much more damage. And we went 3 out of 3 Contagion. And we actually did that just for one other reason. We had 3 points that I felt like were kind of free floaters on the build, first time ever. And I thought about putting them here. Or here. Or here. But the reason we didn't is because I am also going to include on the build, just for fun, another Mosquito's Mantle that has +3 to Contagion, so you can run a 6 out of 3 Contagion build with this. You see this also has spell damage, area damage, and ability crit chance. You will have a ton of fun using this armor if you are not using the one that we have currently equipped. So that was it for the skills. Going over to this side, I put everything into strength for additional critical hit damage, and then everything else down into action skill cooldown rate so that we can use our action skill a lot more easily, get from the shadows back as fast as possible, and you're also boosting your ability damage here with the Protagonizer by doing that. So we're getting a lot more skull damage because we did that. And then I put everything else here into additional status damage to boost up the Bog Spirit, and I did find that doing this gave more damage than doing this in the long run for the way that we are currently set up, where we're not using Daemon Blight Rings or anything, because I do have some of those on the build available for you if you guys want to mess around with them, but I feel like right now this is currently the best setup. And I said I wanted to talk about this. This is for when the Mosquito's Mantle gets nerfed. You can go ahead and swap over to this armor instead, and you will see that you get additional gun damage and critical hit chance for every companion that you have. You can use that for the Bog Totems, the Bog Spirit, and that will actually count from any snakes that you create by using the Snake Stick Crusher. So, that is the build, and we are currently at Myth Rank 801, folks! I hope that you have enjoyed the video. It is a brand new format. I hope that this is something that you like, and if it's not, tell me below. I am going to make a thumbnail for this craziness, and until I see you next time, thank you for being here. I hope to see you when I play live, and until then, happy gaming!